What's going on, everyone? Hope everyone had an amazing day. Thank you so much for all of the love and the support, and just it's great. It's great. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad that I'm helping people. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what my next thoughts are for the market. So obviously, today we had a very green day. I was bullish pre-market. I was bullish into the market. I was basically bullish the entire day, right? And the reason for why I was bullish, I'm going to explain that prior. I'm basically gonna start off with that. We're gonna talk about the SPY, the NASDAQ, the IWM, and the crypto markets, and my thoughts moving forward. All right. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. So right off the bat, I talk about the importance of opening outside of the lower Bollinger Bands very often on this channel. So we opened outside of the lower Bollinger Band on the SPY futures on the weekly chart. So number one, that's very, very bullish. Number two, Apple. We opened very, very outside of the lower Bollinger Band on Apple this morning, okay? That was also a very good bullish sign, and the same thing for Tesla. So this morning, what we did was we just bought Apple calls, and those printed. And essentially, because we were so overextended to the downside on major indices and Apple and Tesla as well, right? It did not make sense to attempt to go short intraday. Today was a very, very strong day. I was saying that there was going to be a bias towards longs. And this entire week, since it is going to be the 8th week, potentially, that we could be red in a row, the odds of us remaining red this week becomes increasingly unlikely as we get closer to Thursday and Friday. So Thursday and Friday, if we're still red, I'm going to look into heavily buying into some longs. But today specifically, when we are trading so far outside of the lower standard deviation on a weekly time frame, especially. So we can see here, Apple opened at 137.79, and the lower Bollinger Band, this number is right here. You can see that that was at 142. So what usually happens is there is always a reversal back into it. All right. So say, for example, basically we opened right here, right? We opened here. There is always a reversal to us touching the lower Bollinger Band again in price. So it was just a really no-brainer long day today. And we made a lot of money in the morning. And yeah, that's basically it. But then aside from that, what can we do now, right? So obviously we've reclaimed and we've touched the lower Bollinger Band now. The ES, Apple, and Tesla are now not overextended to the downside so much. Now what? What can happen? All right, number one, we have PMI data coming in tomorrow morning at 9:45. And then we have Powell speaking at 12:20. It's not in regards to anything with FOMC, but it's still could be important. It's about he's speaking at a Native American summit. And then Wednesday, this is where things get really, really interesting. We have the FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock, and then on Thursday morning we have GDP numbers. So these next few days, even Friday, is going to be very, very important. And currently, the SPY couldn't break above 398. So that is one of the issues here, because we couldn't break above key resistance on the SPY. So 398 is key resistance on the SPY, and 293 is key resistance on the NASDAQ. Both of those levels couldn't break today. Even though we had a huge green day today, obviously we were up almost 2%, but we couldn't break above those key levels of resistance. So once we break above those key levels of resistance, then 400 onward gets on the table. So similar to how we see that 393 is an intraday very important level, 398 is also that same concept. All right. So we're still trading within a range. We need to break above 398 for a solid move upwards on the SPY for 400 plus. But again, like technicals and stuff like that, like a lot of these things aren't as, they're going to become much more just dicey. Today was just much simpler. You could just go long because we were very overextended at the open. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's when things are going to be way more choppy. It's just going to be so much more choppy. It's not going to be as clearly defined unless we like completely open very overextended on anything. Things are going to be much more choppy. We saw that IV was very high today. IV is going to become increasingly higher, I think, on specific days, specifically, well, Wednesday and Thursday when GDP numbers and the FOMC minutes come out. IV should become way worse than what it was today. But good if you're an options seller. So, all right, first of all, number one, 393 on the SPY is a very important level intraday. If you're above 393, most likely you're going to continue moving upwards. If we fall tomorrow below 393, most likely we're going to continue falling lower. Then 390 becomes support, then 387, then 385, and then 380, right? So, I mean, I can't really give you guys like, oh, yeah, this is exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. Because the Fed is speaking tomorrow at 12:30, and we have PMI data coming out in the morning. But we could do something with some patterns. So, the last few times that the Fed had speeches, right? So we rallied to resistance here, and we rallied to resistance here, and then we could talk about what happened the few days afterward. So the first day afterward, huge red candle. Similar here, huge red candle, right? The second day afterward, a bit of an indecision candle here. Same concept, a bit of an indecision candle here on the SPY, right? And then the third day, big flush down, made a new low, right? Same concept, big flush down, made a new low, but we didn't close at that low. And then on the fourth day, this is where it's a bit different because we basically made a bit of a higher high, but we didn't really definitively close above it. So then what happens after, right? Because we are at the fourth day afterward. So the last few times that this happened, right? The last two times, on the fourth day, we end up making another low. So, are we going to make another low? Are we going to break down below 390 and retest 385 and then potentially retest 380? Because this many people are saying this isn't a definitive bottom yet. We need another retest. If that's the case, 393 is going to be your best friend. 393, guys, is the make or break level intraday on the SPY. It was today. As we broke 393, if you had gotten puts as it broke down below, you could have made a lot of money. So now just moving forward, 393 is a very important level on the SPY. If we gap down and we open below 395, then obviously the bias is going to be bearish for the day. Overall, the bias still is bearish, right? We're still in a bear market, but this is the 8th week. This would be the 8th week in a row where we're red. So, and of course, there's a lot of Fed news coming as well. So you have to have an open mind in terms of long and short ideas, but the longer term bias is still bearish. 393 is very important. And from the last time that we had this, the meeting, tomorrow should be a red day in terms of making new lows. Are we going to break down below 380? I don't think so, because that would be a 17-point move to the downside. And then the day afterward would also be a continuation of that low. So if that were to happen, that would be pretty amazing. Because then the market would be very, very overextended to the downside. And then that is when it would be just a no-brainer long opportunity. But just in terms of the pattern that we see right now, tomorrow should be a red day. And we should be breaking down below 390 to 385 maybe. But again, that's judging by if we continue with the same pattern. So there's that for the SPY. The NASDAQ, the IWM, it's the same concept. There's not really much else to really look at. So we could take a look at Bitcoin. We can see that it's trading in a very tight range. The MACD is doing nothing. The The RSI is really stagnant here. Everything is really stagnant. I mean, looks like the crypto market is also waiting for the minutes and everything to even out in the stock market as well. We still need above 32,500 for a bit of a bullish move, and then there's 34,500 as resistance. But overall, I mean, again, this is sort of like a halfway point for Bitcoin as well. We could either go back down to 25 or we could go up to 34. So it doesn't really give that good of a risk reward in terms of a trade here for Bitcoin yet because of this choppy price action. But yeah, there's that for the stock market. There's that for Bitcoin. All eyes are really going to be on the choppiness of the next few days. Don't get chopped out. If we open up below 395 on the SPY and you know we're relatively red, then we have to have a sort of a bearish bias. We're going to look, so the plan is we're going to look at how the follow through is to the up and the downside during the first 30 to 40 minutes. If the follow through is healthy to the downside and it feels like the market is falling like butter, right? And it's being cut like butter, right? Then we're going to have a short bias for the day. But the only thing, because this is the 8th week, that is the only reason why I feel like we should be more bullish. But we'll see. We'll see. You know, there's no point of over trading. We'll see what the market gives us. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.